Hello, and welcome back to a very special episode of Play of the Game. You'll notice something a little bit different if you're watching on video. Jason and I are in person together.
I wonder why.
Well, I will explain, Jason. We are at the Sanctum Pro Tour Lorwyn Equipped Testing House, and it is the night before constructed deck submission. And all through the house, it was quiet, except it was very not quiet.
No.
We are borrowing a bedroom from some people who are sleeping in this room to record our podcast. We wanted to get you guys some Lorwyn Eclipsed content, but we've obviously been extremely busy with Pro Tour prep, so we haven't really had any time until we submitted our constructed deck.
Yep.
Basically like an hour ago.
We're playing the same deck. It's pretty exciting.
It's very exciting. I'm very excited to have people see what it is.
That's not what we're here to talk about.
Not what we're here to talk about. So
some people upstairs are worried about constructed. We are peaceful.
We're very at peace.
Yeah.
Even though we're going to war.
We are going to war, yes. That's a joke, inside joke about it.
You'll get it once this comes out.
Maybe. Well, if you read Ryan's Patreon post, plugs.
We'll do it at the end. Okay, so tomorrow, if people aren't familiar with like a pro testing team process, tomorrow is a day all about limited. After you submit your constructed deck, you get to spend the day, usually maybe you do a draft in the morning, and then you have a very long limited meeting with the entire team all in a room for maybe 4 or 5 hours or something like that.
At least that's how we do it at Sanctum.
I think that's how a lot of teams do it.
For
It's
context,
kind of
right now
traditional.
it's Tuesday, tomorrow, Wednesday at noon is deck submission deadline, but probably you should lock in your deck before then. But yeah.
The like highly recommended thing is to submit your deck on Tuesday night so that you don't have to worry about it on Wednesday.
Last minute changes can be too panicky.
Yes. Anyway, as you can tell, we're very locked into the Pro Tour. But I'm very excited because I've submitted my constructed deck, and now we get to focus on limited.
Woo!
For the rest of the time before the Pro Tour, I get to care about limited, and that's my favorite part. It's very fun. I've been having a lot of fun in this draft format. We both have, I think.
I think I've heard some people not like it, but I actually really enjoy it because I think the draft navigation is really excellent.
It's very interesting.
Especially in pod, but I will always say that.
I agree. Pod drafts are just better. We're not going to talk about draft navigation today. We've got a lot of other limited content for that. We've talked about it as a pro team already, and we're going to talk about it more tomorrow. But we've got some good gameplay for you. So this is a spot from one of Jason's games that it played in early access. And let us break it down. So do you want to describe the board state?
Yeah, so the board state is this is like turn 6-ish, somewhere in the mid game where we have 5 lands in play and the green Shimmer Wilds growth enchantment enchanting one of them on red to our opponent's 6 lands in play. They're red-black. They have 4 mountains, 2 swamps. They have 1 red mana untapped. There's no instant that they have. We have in play also on our side of the board the 1/4 Eclipsed Flamekin, the 2/2 Marrow Sky Swimmer, the 2/2 Vigilance 5 mana Convoke thing, and the 1/1 that it made last turn. That's what we have in play compared to them having a 3/7, the tree that like blights 2 when it attacks to draw a card. The 3 mana Tree Folk that can like remove counters to give things -2/-2. It currently has 2 counters on it. Last turn they just played their 5 mana 3/7 blighted onto their 3/4. So when they untap, they can then use that Tree Folk to give one of our creatures -2/-2. Presumably the Sky Swimmer. That's like the natural play that you would do. And finally, they have a Lasting Tarfire in play. That's been dealing us some damage. We're at 11, they're at 13. Life totals are like, both somewhat under threat, but they're at 15, sorry.
They're
not
at
13.
15.
Yeah.
They are likely to be at 13 by the end of this turn.
Yes. Notably, I am describing it, our board state in our first main phase, so we can attack with our 2/2 Vigilance for free. It's very obviously our only attack. So yeah, they're at 15 or 13 after attacks, whatever you want to think about it. So yeah, the main question that we are trying to answer is what do we cast out of our hand, and importantly, how do we cast it? So right now, our hand is very, very important because, first of all, it has 2 copies of Prisma Basher. Now, we have, among our 5 lands in play, we only have 1 green mana. We have a Plains that's enchanted with Shimmer Wild's Growth on red. This deck is a somewhat vivid deck, as we'll get into, which is why I put it on red, and we have a couple red cards. 3 islands and 1 forest. So we cannot cast these Prisma Bashers, but if we find a forest, we can. And obviously, Prisma Basher here would be for 4. It would like do a lot to like swing the game.
It's very good on this board. 2 of them seems like it would probably end the game.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So if we can get to those, we will win, probably. Then
if we get to them in time.
Yes, basically. In time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we do not have the second forest yet, but we have a Swat Away, which is interaction, 2 blue, like put something on top, a spell or a creature, and it costs less if they're attacking you. And we just drew for turn this Unexpected Assistance. That's the 5 mana Convoke spell that draws 3 and discards a card. So I think it's pretty safe to say that we're... also, I should mention that the opponent has 3 cards in hand. So I think it's pretty safe to say that we really want to cast this Assistance this turn, right?
I agree. I think we're not really making any progress if we don't cast it, basically. Yeah. We're just hoping our next draw is a forest, which is pretty bad. I mean, we could think about, like, we're definitely casting it this turn cycle, but maybe we're casting it on the end of their turn. That's a consideration, but there's real value in trying to cast it during our turn. Because we obviously are going to have some amount of mana left over, and we could cast stuff if we draw it.
Okay, we should actually break it down, because there is one specific thing that I remember is interesting about this spot. So, we can hold up Assistance for their turn. We can hold up, in fact, both of our spells for their turn.
Yes.
Notably, we have 6 mana in play, in like actual mana, and 3 creatures. That adds up to 9. Notably, Swat Away costs 4 or 2 if they're attacking, and Assistance costs 5. However, one thing they're likely to do on their turn is to remove counters from their Gnarlback Elm in order to kill our Sky Swimmer, and then if they do that, we might be incentivized to act immediately with Assistance.
Yeah, agreed.
And then that would require tapping all of our creatures, which might make like blocks a little weird. So that's something to think about. We do have the ability to like just pass. Notably, we have not made our land drop that one. We do not have a land in hand.
Making our land drop is nice. We're going to cast a card draw spell. We have 2 expensive spells in hand. Like, probably we have some cheap cards in the deck. We'll look at that pretty shortly.
Yes.
And so, like, this is a hand we're making our land drops, even though it doesn't look like we're going to cast more than, like, 1 spell a turn on the spells we're casting the Prism Bashers. It probably matters.
Yeah. Notably, we will, like... If we cast this Assistance and we draw a forest, we're not discarding the forest.
Yeah.
And if we don't draw a forest, we might discard one of the Prisma Bashers.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, you know...
It's very unlikely that, like, 2 turns from now we're going to, like, not be dead enough and still want a Prisma Basher.
Yeah. And we specifically want the second one as well.
Right. Yeah. So, where does this leave us, right? The attack for 2 is like the first game action we probably take because it's free.
Yeah, we know exactly how we want to attack. Yeah. Even casting the Swat Away wouldn't give us more attacks. Like, we can remove their 3/7. They have a 1/2. We can't attack either of our grand creatures into that. The Vigilance attack is free. So, yeah.
So, I think the first thing to think about, I would say, at least the way my brain is kind of chunking this, because this is actually mostly the first time I've looked at this spot, is I'm trying to figure out. Basically, I want to cast both of these spells because I think it's pretty unlikely that we draw stuff with Unexpected Assistance that is better to do than Swat Away, given that it's like a directly board affecting play that we do have the mana for, and we can pretty easily, with some nuance, plan to have the mana for it. So my guess is that I don't want to cast this Unexpected Assistance on our turn. Besides the fact that we do want to hit that land drop, actually. So maybe I'm taking that back. But I think, like, probably I'm not tapping in such a way that I'm planning on casting a different spell. I'm going to try to leave up the Swat Away, even if that means I'm only leaving up, like, island to do it. I'm not trying to like draw into a spell that I cast this turn cycle. It's basically how my brain is chunking out the turn. I'm pretty sure we're casting the 2 spells that we know about. That's how I'm thinking about it. Then I'm trying to think about, okay, how likely is it that we need to cast this Swat Away for 4 mana versus 2? And that is kind of interesting. Basically, it comes down to, are we going to be attacked by creatures? Because
Well, so
it's also like, do we want to not let them attack
yeah,
us? I
so
guess.
very notably, they have a 3. So they have 2 creatures in play, right? Does Swat Away even hit non-land permanents? It does not. Okay, so we can't even target the Tarfire. Obviously, we can target a spell, theoretically, if they cast an impactful spell. But
that will cost 4.
Yeah. But also, they're, like, fairly likely to be spending 3 mana on this Gnarlback Helm, so less likely they cast, like, a really expensive spell. Between their 2 creatures, we can swat away the Gnarlback Elm on our main phase. Like, if we want to swat away the Gnarlback Elm, we can do it on our main phase to prevent, if we...
To tax their entire turn to play it and kill the flyer.
Yeah, so, yeah, if we do it on... If we do it on their turn, well, like, if we do it before... if we do it after their main phase, then they're going to be able to remove counters from their Gnarlback Elm, and in some senses that represents some value that we're giving them. We're giving them, like, the free -2/-2.
Yeah.
And then giving them their entire Gnarlback Elm back, which they could then...
If we let them untap and go to their main phase, they could, as the first game action, disfigure something.
Yes.
-2/-2 it. And we are kind of giving them that if we don't act before that.
Yeah, and that's probably pretty bad for us because these Prism Bashers really like our creatures in play.
Yeah.
So, like, we like our 2/2 flyer, we like our 1/1. We could swat away the Gnarlback Elm on our main phase. They would probably put it on top, and then they could just, like, play it, like, recast it, use it to kill our Sky Swimmer, and then they could even attack with their 3/7 and re-blight onto it.
I guess I didn't even think about this. Is actually a moment where we may want to use the after draw steps.
Yeah, we could let them draw a card, then put the Gnarlback Elm back on top, and say, okay, you can either cast the Gnarlback Elm next turn, or they can still attack with their 3/7 and redraw it. Is some of the problem, right?
That's true.
If we swat away their Gnarlback Elm on their draw step, now it's on top of their library. They can attack with their 3/7, blight onto itself to turn it into a 1/5. We can't block that. I mean, they might like not make that play because it's maybe a little risky into some combat trick, but they'll probably feel like decently safe doing it.
Yeah.
And then they redraw their Gnarlback Helm, play it, remove our 2/2 flyer.
Yeah. So all of this is basically in the kind of branching path of we are casting Swat Away on Gnarlback Elm.
Yes.
Most of what this is telling me, I think, is that it's pretty hard to get them off of killing our flyer if they want to spend their turn doing that.
Yes.
And so the conclusion I'm coming to from that is that, like, to me, it doesn't seem like that is the best way to use this Swat Away.
I agree, because, like, they're going to kill our they can kill our 2/2 flyer anyways. The 2/2 flyer is going to just die at some point.
And basically what we're doing by casting the Swat Away either draw step or, like, during our turn is just taxing 3 more of their mana.
Yeah, or specifically also taxing, making it so that their, like, 3/4 isn't in play, which isn't that relevant against our 1/4, right?
Yeah. Although if we're casting it for 4, then we are tapping out, including creatures, right?
Well, we can convoke, like, on their end step after they attack or something.
After they attack, sure. Yeah.
So that's talking about swatting away Gnarlback Helm,
which is, I think, I'm pretty confident, at least at this stage, I don't want to do that.
Yes. Next, we need to think about swatting away this 3/7. Now this is immediately pretty appealing because it costs 5. It does have an ETB trigger, but the ETB kind of costs something, and notably, even if we swat it away, like, on our turn, they cannot, under any circumstances, replay it and activate Gnarlback next turn.
Yes.
So we're not, like, immediately giving them that value of, like, being able to, like, re-blight onto Gnarlback. They'll be at least, like, 2 turns before they can do that. Now, maybe they have, like, some nice play to bridge in between, and it might still represent some value less, but they're going to be either like if we don't swat away, it will be able to attack, at the very least.
Yeah.
And attacking is not going to be great for us.
It like deals us 2 from the lasting tar fire. It draws them a card. They'll lose a life, but it seems like we're winning this game in big chunks rather than by like increments.
I agree, though it can matter.
Yeah, it certainly can matter because big chunks have values, and those values can either be equal to or slightly less than your opponent's life total.
And the other thing is, like, if we're not swatting away this Gnarlback Elm, if we let them attack with it, they do get to, like, reblight onto the Gnarlback, which, again, we do care about them killing our 1/1.
Yes.
So, I think it's probably pretty bad to let them attack with this Blackthorn, right?
I'm not 100% sure I agree, for the reason that I think that if they're spending their entire, like, next couple turn cycles doing this, and we've, like, resolved a Prisma Basher, they have a 6/6 to deal with, and all of their mana is tied up in dealing with our 2/2 and our 1/1.
Sure, but like, okay, let's say like we're just holding up Swat away, right? And we just let them go to combat.
Yeah.
So
we like just pass without doing anything.
Like, we're not doing anything, right? And so the first thing they do is like remove counters, remove our 2/2 flyer. That's like the natural first thing for them to do, right?
Yeah.
And then they go to combat.
Do we have to cast Unexpected Assistance when they do that?
Yes.
That I think
we do need to cast on it. If we're just passing, we do need to cast Unexpected Assistance.
Basically tapping the flyer and question mark on the other creatures.
Well, we need to tap all the creatures if we want 4 mana swat away.
Yeah. And notably, our life total is pretty relevant. Like, we don't really want to take 3.
Yeah. Or I mean, we if our theory is we want to like
let them attack,
then we could cast.
That's what I'm a little bit proposing, because basically I think that like, we do care about not taking 3. I think, and I could be wrong about this, I could be misevaluating, I think I don't care about them losing a life and drawing a card, in the sense that, like, they have 3 cards in hand. These cards in hand are, A, somewhat unlikely to be better than the stuff they're doing on their turn. B, if they are better, they're using them. And C, if they're not better, like, we don't actually care about giving them extra cards because their cards that they're going to be using are on the board. Basically, all their mana is tied up in doing a thing that's pretty good, is kind of what I'm saying. And if their mana wouldn't be tied up in doing that, then we are kind of getting full value for our mana in, like, dealing with it.
Sure, but what I'm worried about is, like, okay, let's say, like, we're in this spot where we're, we let them kill our flyer, maybe we assistance in response to that. Yep. Then they go to combat. Like, in fact, we might want to assistance tapping all their creatures anyways, because we want to preserve the ability to
with them.
Well, we're blocking with the 1/4, but based on what we draw, we might well want to swat away the 3/7, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I would be intending to swat away the 3/7
before attacks.
Oh, before attacks.
Well, because my main thing is, like, I think that letting them attack is bad, not because it represents, not because it represents them drawing a card, but because it represents, like, if we want to tap all their creatures, a potential 3 damage from the Blackthorn, and another 2 damage from Tarfire, which is not guaranteed they can do otherwise.
Yeah.
And the ability to blight back onto the Gnarlback Elm, which represents killing our 1/1, possibly. Like, if we're just, like, saving Swat away for their end step,
well, I guess
that's really bad.
To be clear, I don't intend to save Swat away for their end step.
Okay.
What I'm proposing is that we swat away after they attack to not take 3 damage. But
why did you want to not swat away before they attack them?
Because it costs 2.
But we can tap our 3 creatures and 2 mana and still have 4 up.
Oh, yes. Okay, I think this is the thing that I'm missing, that you're correcting, is that, like, there's basically what you're saying, and I think this is correct, but it's a little hard to see, and I wasn't seeing it. There's no cost to tapping the 1/4 to, like, not leave up a block, because if the creature is attacking for it to block, we are casting the swat away.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, I mean, there is a cost, which is there is a second creature. There's a 3/4.
Right. So this is a subtly very tricky and confusing spot. I'm getting honestly a little bit confused at all the permutations happening here. Do you have a good way of, like, chunking this together into what we care about? The way my brain was kind of thinking through it was, mana is their contested resource, is their tight resource, and we want to constrain them on mana. Therefore, I want the most to cast Swat Away on their 5-drop, so that eventually in this game, if the 5-drop returns, they have spent 5 mana for the thing we swatted away.
I agree with that. I really like that framing, and so I really want to swat away their 5-drop. Then the question is, when do you want to swat away?
Yeah.
The valid times are A, on your main phase, B, after they draw, C, like after they attack.
Yeah. Okay.
I do not on your main phase, and like on their upkeep is like basically the same thing. So like if you would do that, you would probably do it on your main phase. I do not want to do it after they attack, because then they're getting value from it in some way, probably.
That makes sense. And there's like we are, I believe, correct me again if I'm wrong based on the math my head is doing here, we are taking 3 by casting it, but taking 3 from the other creature, assuming they like minus our creature, by casting it before they attack, because we have to spend 4 mana on it for that. So we are like not letting them get that blight value, but we are taking 3 damage in place of that. To be fair, the blight value deals us 2 anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, there is a third option that we have not yet discussed, because you have assumed that we are just passing.
Yes.
There is a final option.
Yeah.
We can cast this unexpected assistance on our turn
And get information.
to A, get information, B, we could... Okay, so there are many... Okay, once we're thinking about casting unexpected assistance on our turn, this is actually a great spot. I love it. There are roughly 3 different ways we can cast this unexpected assistance pretty reasonably, right?
Yeah.
I think...
The game action cast unexpected assistance on our turn, which is basically what we thought we would actually be talking about when we started this video. We realized there was more nuance after we started. This, just how to cast unexpected assistance, is really tricky.
Yes. So you can pay 5 mana for it. You can pay 4 mana and tap a creature for it. You can pay 3 mana and tap 2 creatures for it. If you're paying 2 mana and tapping 3 creatures for it, that starts getting a little sketchy, because why aren't you just doing it on their turn? The main benefit for doing it on your turn, in my eyes, is to not tap all 3 of your creatures, because it's fine. I don't need my computer.
Fair enough. I was offering Jason a charger.
Yeah. So specifically, okay, if you pay 5 mana for it, that's kind of silly, because you only have 1 mana left over, and we don't particularly want to play another island, right? So that's pretty bad. And also, we are almost certainly not using our 2/2 flyer to block, especially since it's probably dying.
Yes.
so like, it's pretty free to tap at least our 2/2. We can discount paying 5 mana for it. Great. We can pay 4 mana for it and tap our 2/2 flyer, leaving up blue to cast Swat Away. We can also leave up something else. And this is where we should probably look into what our deck has.
Yes. So basically, the reason to tap more than just the 2/2 flyer and leave up the blue for Swat Away is possible we draw something we want to cast. For that, we need to think about what are our actual range of draws.
Before we look at that, I will say the reason to tap specifically 2 creatures is if you draw a land, which we are looking for a land, specifically a forest.
Yeah.
If you draw a land, you can cast the 4 mana Swat Away after playing the land while keeping the 1/4 untapped.
I see. So you basically leave island, other land untapped.
You can float a mana, which is a little spicy.
Why would you do that?
If you want the mana to be red or white. That you're
Sure. So now we must look at the deck.
We must look at the deck.
All right. So let's take a look at this deck.
It's a spicy one.
Drag? No,
that doesn't.
I think I need to like tab over.
Okay, I think this is mostly fine.
I guess you can't see the mana base with our heads, but it's okay. You can see all the spells.
The mana base is 9 islands, 5 forests, 1 plains, 1 mountain, 1 hollowed fountain. SMH negative IWD hollowed fountain.
Weirdly, the shocklands have negative impact when drawn in 17 lands data. Most of them. Which doesn't make a lot of sense.
It makes sense to me. We don't need to get into it.
Anyway. Okay. So what do we have in our deck?
So, okay. So we don't really need to care about our...
I'm actually going to run and get water.
Okay.
You continue this
while I go. Okay, so what we have in our deck. We don't really need to care about our 5 mana spells that much, because we are not really going to be able to cast them after casting our unexpected assistance, and we wouldn't want to overcasting Swat Away probably. So yeah, we have some Marrow Sky Swimmers and another unexpected assistance we could draw. We could draw a lot more Swathways. This deck has 3 of them, or a Champions of the Shoal, which would be very nice. So there is an argument to tapping, for example, all 3 creatures plus 2 lands to have 4 mana, so that if we draw Champions, we can guaranteed cast it. And obviously, it would be extremely impactful on this board. But that's our main thing that we would draw that would want us to have 4 mana available. Because Swataway we can cast for 2 worst case. Then we have a few Eclipsed creatures. We've already drawn our Flamekin. We might want to cast Wayfinder, because that finds a forest. Marrow is going to be... We have 2 Eclipsed Marrows, but that's going to be really hard to cast. To leave up mana for Eclipsed Marrow, we would basically need to leave up either blue, 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 or tap our red-white land and leave up and float white and leave up blue, blue to cast Eclipsed Marrow, which is, a little tough. And on top of that, we also have 2 Deep Channel Duelists, the Merfolk Lord, which also would be decently impactful.
Float, right?
Yeah, we would need to float white mana basically, or leave 4 mana untapped. And to be clear, while you were gone, I talked about we might want 4 mana untapped to guarantee being able to cast Champions of the Shoal.
That would be a great draw that we would easily want to cast.
Yeah, specifically if we drew Champions of the Shoal and 2 other non-lands. Because if we drew Champions of the Shoal and a land, we could cast it even if we left up 3.
Okay, then I don't know. That sounds doable. I think the leaving up more for if we draw that and 2 non-lands seems
And then we have a bunch of 2-drops. We have a second Shimmer Wild's Growth that could represent our second green mana, but in that case we would want to leave a green open. So there's a lot to think about here.
There's a lot that is probably impossible to think about all of it in an actual game.
Yes, and also finally there's an Explosive Prodigy, which would be pretty impactful to cast and cost red mana.
Yes,
which
we do have.
Yeah, we in fact cannot leave up enough mana. So okay, if we left up our red-white land and both of our blue lands, we could cast basically anything we drew except for Shimmer Wild's Growth, which we would need to leave up green
that's
mana.
relatively fine, because if we hit any other land drop, does Shimmer Wild's Growth into Prisma Basher work next turn? Right, we'll have 7 mana.
No, we would need that land to be green in the first place.
Right, because it costs green.
Yes.
Okay. If that land is green though, it might be fine. And
but we only have
we
one
only have
Shimmer
5
Wild's
forests.
Growth.
Okay, this is I think given that we only have 1 Shimmer Wild's Growth, I'm okay discounting this.
Okay.
So I think basically what it sounds like from all of that slightly confusing dump of stuff we could possibly cast, I would like to leave up Island Plains. I think.
Do you want to leave up the plains or tap it for and float white?
A white. What? Can you describe to me the benefits and drawbacks of each choice?
So okay, here's the thing. You cannot leave up Island Plains unless you tap all your creatures.
Yeah, I see.
And
that seems bad given that we would really like to block 3 powers of attacking if we can.
Yeah, so part of the reason why I made the play I did this turn, which we'll maybe get to at some point, is I really wanted to leave up a 1/4 blocker. Yeah. I really wanted to.
I think that really does matter here. Yeah, being at 11 with a Lasting Tarfire in play, going to 8 from an attack plus another 2, get down to 6 with the Tarfire. That is concerning. I think it's highly valuable to save 3 life.
Yes.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we cannot leave up Island Plains, land that let's call it Boros Garrison. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
All right. Island Boros Garrison. We can't leave up.
Are we playing Amulet Titan? What's happening?
All Amulet Titan. We can't leave that up without tapping all of our creatures.
Yeah.
So. I think it's pretty compelling. I think it's pretty compelling to not leave up Forest because that only casts Shimmer Wild's Growth.
I agree. Leaving up Forest does not make a ton of sense.
I do not want to. I think I do not want to leave up only 2 mana. I do not want to tap only 1 creature because then we would have to let them attack with their 3/7 before we can swat away.
Okay.
Whereas if we draw a land, we can just swat away.
Okay.
Right. So and there's a bunch of things we could draw that we could cast.
So you want to basically leave up 3 mana, tap 2 of our creatures, and it's a little weird to think about getting to this spot as in you've thought about all of the cards in your deck and exactly what percentage of them you can cast and how good it is to cast all of them,
You're not...
and what sacrifices you'd have to make to cast all of them and all this. You're not thinking about that. But I think there's a way to get to this answer that doesn't require that, which is basically, here's how I would, like, as simply as possible get to that conclusion, would be A, we're not doing anything else with this 1/1 likely. It's not chump blocking probably because we really care about it for the Prisma Basher. So we might as well tap it for mana. That's one thing. Another thing, we know our mana base. It's 9 islands, 5 forests, 1 plains, 1 hallowed fountain or something.
And 1 mountain.
Yeah, and 1 mountain, right? We are mostly a deck with blue spells.
Yes.
So leaving up this, like, 2 islands and maybe whatever land we draw and, like, 1 other land, would it be 3 islands or 2 islands and a forest? 2 islands and a forest, probably.
Or we could 2 islands and float a mana.
I see. 2 islands and float a mana is actually probably, like, the best, weirdly, which is really confusing. I probably wouldn't get to that, but I think I would probably get to something like 2 islands, 1 forest, because our deck has a bunch of blue spells. We're likely to be able to, like, oh wait, but this does commit us to casting Swat Away.
It's fine
on
to
attacks, right?
Well, no, because we can draw a land and play it.
Right.
If we leave up 3 mana, either by floating a mana or
then
leaving up 3
then
lands.
that is, yeah, and that's pretty likely. And if we draw 3 non-lands, pretty likely we have 1 that we can cast.
Yeah, or we can just, like, accept swatting away on their turn, and it's fine.
Which is fine. Like after their attacks, we're saying. Yeah. Okay, I think that all makes sense. So basically, the here are the most important factors, I think, in this situation, that if you are, like, in a similar situation where you have a lot of options, but there's a lot of, like, seemingly unimportant details about the choices you can make, here's the things I think are important. 1, our opponent's most constrained resource, most bottlenecked resource, is mana. That is the thing that we can tax the most, because they have an expensive activated ability that's going to be good, but still expensive, an expensive creature that we could roughly bounce, and cards in hand that seem to be a little bit locked in hand. 2, we care about our life total. They are dealing us incremental damage, and so we want to stay at a high life total because this game is at least going a couple more turns. 3, we have a pretty wide range of cheap spells in our deck that we could theoretically want to cast if we, like, drew a land and some spells or something. With those 3 things, I think you can get roughly to the, like, I want to tap this 2/2 and this 1/1, leave up some mana to get more information about what I draw, and then try to block with this 1/4.
Yeah, I think specifically you, like, I the important steps are arriving at, A, I want to target this 3/7 instead of this Gnarlback
because
Elm.
the constrained resource is mana.
Yes. B, it would be nice to be able to block with this 1/4.
Because we care about our life total.
Yeah. C, it would be nice to cast this before they attack with their 3/7. But, like, less nice than blocking with the 1/4 is, like, the prioritization that leads you to casting unexpected thing on your turn.
Yep.
And then the question about what mana to tap, I can go on a little bit of a tangent on why I chose what I chose and, like, the benefits and downsides. I agree. Tapping the 2/2 and 1/1, I think it's just good.
So do you want to pause there with that as the conclusion, look at what you did, and then have you go on a tangent?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
So
our basic conclusion is we want to leave up some amount of mana,
including 2 blue.
We want to try to block with the 1/4, and we want to ideally cast this before they can attack with their 5 drop.
Ideally we're casting it on our turn or, like, in their main phase or something, depending on whether we're choosing to float mana. And we'll see what happens after we draw unexpected assistance.
Yeah. So draw off of. So we attack for 2, we cast it, and we.
So there'll be some funky steps. It shows me starting to tap my creatures. Then I realize I want to float mana. So I go into full control.
You floated mana.
I floated red mana.
This is why Jason is built different, I gotta say.
Okay, so here's my explanation for why I floated mana.
Okay.
Out of the spells in my deck, the white spells, I don't think that I would rather cast so there's the Merfolk Lord or the Eclipse Merfolk. that would use. Those are the only white mana using spells in my deck. Like I was like a little. I like went to 17 lands and consulted my deck list a little bit, like
little bit of digital only play.
Yeah, digital only plays. Yeah, exactly. But I went and consulted my deck list because I was like, oh, this is really interesting. But like my white spells, I don't think I want to cast because I think I would rather swat away than cast them, especially since the Lord they would just kill. And so I was like, okay, I don't really want to cast my white spells. I don't really want to cast. I don't really want to play around the one Shimmerwild's Growth, but I would really want to cast Explosive Prodigy if I drew it. Explosive Prodigy would be like game-endingly good on the one.
The only quibble I have with this is we would really want to cast the Eclipse Merfolk, but it's somewhat likely we would draw an island.
No, I would rather swat away than cast the Eclipse Merfolk
I
here.
see. I guess because the alternative is swat away. I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like I would rather cast the 2-mana swat away than the Eclipse Merfolk, I think.
I agree. Okay.
And so yeah, that's why I decided to float specifically red.
Basically, it's like, how many spells are better than the swat away we could cast?
Yeah.
And the answer is basically Explosive Prodigy.
Yeah. In fact, like, you don't need to go to your deck list. You can just, like, try to think about what spells you could draw that you want to cast. Yeah. Right? And there just aren't that many answers.
Run away together, but we're already doing that by default.
That doesn't affect our mana tapping.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. That is really the only spell, the Explosive Prodigy, that kind of makes a difference, because we don't want to develop the Lords. It's better to use the swat away than like the other random stuff. So
yeah, just like as long as you have some sense of what the most impactful spells you can draw are, you can shoot for
I'm
not gonna pretend that I 100% know that this is the correct decision.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. But you should. It is definitely
making an attempt is often better than not.
Exactly.
Which I think a lot of the time people get to a spot like this, and there's like certain categories of decisions. Almost every time when I say a lot of the time people, I'm referring to myself in the past. I, as a limited player, very often was like, that is a category of decision that is just too complicated for me to think about. I'm not going to think about it.
Yeah, and knowing how to prioritize is very good too.
Yes.
Don't spend a billion, don't spend most of your thinking time on something like this if you need that thinking time on other things.
If you need to figure out, I want to do the 5-drop because it's the mana, right? Like that, if you get to that first, it's more important than being like, what would I cast off of
good prioritization is good. You only think about this stuff once you've already figured the other stuff out and still have time left.
The basics of like, which spells am I casting? When am I casting them? If you figure that out, then you can maybe think about this.
Yeah.
But if you do, I think it's good to not dismiss it if you have the like mental resources or the time to think about it. Instead of thinking like, this is just too hard, be like, I'm gonna think on the like simplest possible level. Are there any banger spells in my deck? But really,
probably if they're bangers, you'll remember them. You know,
yes.
Like the meme. Like if you forgot it wasn't important.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that is like the way to get to this. And we can like examine a little bit what happened in the rest of the game.
I drew a nice forest and I swatted away their 3/7 on my main phase.
Swatted away on the main phase. Wonderful. We cast Prism Basher and I assume it pretty much ran away with the game.
Yeah, they killed 2 creatures, which was a little scary, but I just cast the Prism Basher as a 6/6. And like I just the game was actually really close. At some point if they had drawn a land, they would have killed me. Because they were able to like
remove the Prism Basher, keep attacking us.
Yeah, but I like had just enough, and amusingly I drew the Explosive Prodigy was close.
Nice.
But yeah, I was able to like just barely get over the finish line with the Prism Basher.
Small margins, they really do matter in games of limited. Wonderful. Okay. Honestly, we were not totally sure this spot would have like enough in it. I think it did. And that's often the case with these things, is like the more you talk about it, the more you realize this game is just so hard.
Yeah.
Sorry. Been a long weekend of yelling in a household full of 15 people. Okay. Sorry for all the audio listeners. I really do apologize. The audio might be a little bit worse in this episode.
We don't have a mic. We're on a small laptop.
We are recording this in the middle of like the busiest week you could possibly imagine. So we're trying to get this out to you
we're
guys.
At peace.
We are.
We're at peace with going to war.
We're at peace with going to war. This is about our constructed deck, which you will see at some point.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for listening, everyone. Let us know, give us feedback. Like, it will be useful, I think, for us to know if an episode recorded like this just isn't actually very functional. I think it's good enough. I think people can get a lot out of this, and I hope it's like listenable. We both live
in New York. We could do like in-person recording.
We could. Although weirdly, it is a little bit even easier to do virtually in a way.
A little bit, yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, let us know what you guys think. We will be obviously coming at you with more Lorwyn Eclipsed episodes going forward after this, but. Yeah, stay tuned for next time.
Maybe we should do a sealed episode at some point.
I would love to do a
because
sealed
there's
episode.
This is my
favorite format.
Toronto is...
Yeah.
When is Toronto? Is it the week?
This is going to be coming out like 3 days before Toronto.
Oh.
It is the week after the Pro Tour, and the episode coming out this week is an Avatars set,
I see.
episode. So we will not be able to do a sealed episode before Toronto.
Unless we like move up the timeline, but
we could. Yeah, it's complicated.
I haven't played any sealed yet, so
me neither.
I'm not going to Toronto either.
Me neither. My mom is in New York that weekend. I'm gonna hang out with her a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Too much travel for me.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening.
A little chaotic.
A little chaotic. This time you got a little glimpse into what it might be like. Imagine this, but 15 people. Anyway, thanks for listening. Till next time. Make some good plays.
Also, go subscribe to Ryan's Patreon.
Are we only plugging me?
You can find me at JasonILTG in places. Go subscribe to Ryan's Patreon.
Wonderful. All right. See you guys.